Welcome back to the Box Brothers podcast. I am Ben Perez, and we are joined again by Nick. We have a two-seater, and we are here to go over the qualifying that happened just a few seconds ago, give you our reactions, and just talk about where people are shaking out for the race tomorrow. So, Nick, we are in Austria this week, and let's just get started today with Q1 eliminations. I do have a slideshow, so let me share this with you.
He's gone corporate on me. Pulled up the PowerPoint.
Yeah, so and at the end of Q1, we had 5 people eliminated. We had Nico Hülkenberg, Carlos Sainz, Yuki Tsunoda, and Esteban Ocon, and Lance Stroll all getting knocked out in Q1. I think the biggest surprise for me is Lance Stroll. After really looking good in FP2 and FP3, he did get eliminated in this session. So, Nick, let's talk about it. What are your thoughts on this first elimination of these 5 drivers?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the big thing with the first qualifying, like Q1, all the drivers were so close together. I think they were only separated, and I know that kind of skewed it because of Nico Hülkenberg and Carlos Sainz, but all of them were only separated by like 0.6 of a second, which is crazy fast. And Yuki was only 0.2 off of Max, but Max was in 3rd and Yuki was in 18th. I just think that's kind of crazy. Or Max may have been in 7th, but the margin here, everything at Austria just gets shrunk down so much. So
yeah, with it being such a short track.
Yeah, 100%. And your mistakes get magnified to like a whole nother degree. 100%. I think that Lance Stroll, especially after the weekend he had in Canada and coming in here through the first 3 practice sessions, he looked really solid, but I was very surprised to see him get knocked out in Q1. Also, another surprise was Carlos Sainz.
Let's stick with Lance Stroll for a second, because I did take him qualifying better than 12.5, hoping that he would continue that form. He did not hit that pick today. So I just don't know what happened with him, but continue with Carlos Sainz, because he ended up getting some floor damage after running over a curb. And then that, I think, damaged his floor, really compromised his lap, and he was knocked out. He just didn't have the pace to get out of Q1 here.
Yeah, it was just really interesting. I don't know. He didn't seem to get the car alive today. Along with Nico Hülkenberg, too, especially with his teammate making it all the way to Q3.
And it's disappointing for Hulk because he came home in the points, came home 6th last year. So it was sad to see him have such a quick exit.
But also, I feel like this track can kind of be weird sometimes with traffic because it is only a minute to get around it. So I feel like that could have something to play with it and them just not being able to hook up a good lap. But there's also, like, sometimes you just don't have it, and sometimes the balance could be off and you could pick up some random damage like Carlos today. But it was very interesting because especially after Q1, Carlos was in 19th, his teammate was up in the top 5, so it was just very interesting to see.
Yeah, not a great weekend for Williams so far. So moving on to Q2, we had the elimination of Fernando Alonso in 11th, Alex Albon 12th, Isaac Hadjar in 13th, Franco Colapinto in 14th, and then Ollie Behrman in 15th. So let's go down the list, Nick, and anything jump out to you?
Yeah, this one, it was really that they were all within. This was the really tight heat. They were all within like 0.5 of a second of each other all throughout Q2. And it just shows the margin between the top teams and the bottom teams, especially on such a short track. I was really surprised by Isaac Hadjar being
You're messing up his name too.
Thrown out.
Struggling.
I know. But
yeah,
I was really surprised by him not being able to hook it together.
Yeah, especially with his teammate Liam Lawson getting it up into Q3. I think this is is this the first time that Lawson has outqualified Hadjar this season?
No, it's only
8-1.
It's the second time.
Yeah, so he's now he has 2 qualifiers over Isaac. So he didn't have the best race weekend. I was surprised that the Red Bulls came out in Q1 and did so well, especially after their kind of mediocre practice sessions this weekend. So he was a surprise. Oh, go for it.
No, I was just going to say the Racing Bulls looked really, really alive throughout most of the weekend. And I bet there's still going to be a great racing car throughout the race. I still feel like they're going to be able to hook it up together.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I think it was good for Franco Colapinto to get out of Q3, starting to build confidence in that Alpine car. Don't really have much to say. It is his last race weekend with the team, technically. So we'll see what happens after going into the British Grand Prix. And then Ollie Behrman, performance. He didn't really look super comfortable in that car, but he did outqualify Esteban Ocon.
Yeah. And then Fernando Alonso just barely missing Q3 by, it was 0.006 of a second.
Mm-hmm.
So Pierre just was able to hook one up at the, here it is. I was looking at the wrong number. 0.006 of a second between him and Fernando and Pierre, but Pierre was just able to throw one in there towards the back end. So it was really just, it was kind of a bummer to watch happen.
Yeah, because Antonelli barely snuck into Q3 this session, and the session was stopped with a fire by Hamilton going over the dirt. And just got flashbacks of got flashbacks of Japan and China, where the grass was also on fire.
Yeah.
Those were the eliminations in Q2. And then moving into Q3, we had a top 10 of Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc, Oscar Piastri came in third, Lewis Hamilton 4, George 5th, Max 6th, Kimi 7th. Gabriel Bortoleto, the really surprise of the weekend. He's been running fantastic around this track. And then wrapping it up, Pierre Gasly came in 9 and Liam Lawson in 10. And I think the big story about this is Pierre Gasly's spin out coming around the last turn. Fernando Alonso saw him do essentially a 360 on that last turn going down the start straight or the end start straight, and caused a yellow flag for the drivers. I know that caught Max out. What? You gave me a face.
It was just the way you said yellow.
Oh, yellow flag. He caused the yellow flag. He caused the yellow flag. It caught Max out, caught Piastri out, and really ruined Max's final lap because his DRS lap closed and Oscar had to abort his lap. But Lando Norris setting a sub 104 lap around this track was super impressive. Went purple to end the session today.
Oh yeah, 100%. And him, it was a nice bounce back after what happened last week in Canada. I mean, and he needs it. I mean, he needs that confidence booster. Oscar just didn't really seem like he was fighting too much for pace. Charles Leclerc came up randomly. I was really surprised to see his name up there. But the one I want to talk about is
the Ferrari. Well, let's for Charles, the Ferrari floor upgrades looking promising. Finally got the combination between the floor and that back suspension. So if they can bring some more upgrades in Silverstone next week, watch out. And I know I talked a little bit about that in the race preview, but I'm super excited to see Ferrari nipping at the heels of McLaren.
No, 100%. And the thing that happened with Ferrari is now they're starting to become a competent race team. It took them a little bit, but they either start really, really well and fade off towards the end of the season, or they start really bad and come alive towards the middle and end of the season.
Well, we saw this in 2023. McLaren's big upgrade that launched them from the back of the field team. I think they were in 7th or 8th during the Austrian Grand Prix, I believe. And then they brought upgrades and shot all the way up, competing with Mercedes, Ferrari, and Red Bull that year. So it's awesome to see, and hopefully this pace can continue. And that way, Fred Vasseur can keep his job.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. No, George Russell was almost eliminated in Q1 today.
Yeah, they
That
both
was
Mercedes were struggling, which is I found it surprising, especially after George set P1 and FP1. I know FP1 is the least representative factor of the race weekend, but then Kimi went fourth in FP3, I believe, or was it FP2? I'm pull up. And so no, they went in FP3 this morning. They went 6-7, and then FP2 they were down a little bit with Russell coming in 6th, and then Antonelli 11th. FP1 Russell looked really good.
Yeah, and I mean, the Mercedes have been looking good, especially since their form of Canada. But I don't know what it was. They just weren't able to put it all together today. And I mean, that's kind of telling of a lot of people's stories this week, especially being Isaac Hadjar along with Max Verstappen. They just weren't able to put it together on that single lap pace. The interesting thing with Max Verstappen, though, and it was a thought I had during the race, was would he be better off in a Racing Bulls car?
I don't think so. I think that the Red Bull has more pace potential than the Racing Bulls. If he was at Racing Bulls for the last 3 years, then maybe. But I think this Red Bull car is his best shot at maximizing his lap time. So I don't think that he would be better. And you also have the added budget of Red Bull compared to Racing Bulls.
Yeah, I mean, I just was thinking because the overall balance, and it was what they were talking about on the commentary today, but balance over speed at this track is what makes or breaks you. And you could just see with how much Max was fighting that car throughout the lap, along with Yuki. Yuki's on board because, shout out Ben, we got F1 TV now. So I had a couple different screens up.
Great investment.
I had 3 screens up. 3 screens up. I felt pretty cool.
Yeah, we're not even sponsored by F1 TV, but yeah, no. If you're looking for a good race experience, I would highly recommend F1 TV.
It was so awesome because I got to just throw it on. I got to throw it on Max's onboard and just watch him, and then hear. The coolest part about it was hearing all the radio messages to him, especially during qualifying, because there's so many people coming up behind and basically spotting him. I thought it was super cool to hear, and then to hear him complain about different things, or it really just gives you another view behind what's actually going on in a racing car, what they're actually going through. I thought it was super cool to watch the onboards today.
All right, because I watched it on.
Was pretty nice.
Yeah, no. Well, ESPN, there are no ads. That's where I watched it today. But for tomorrow's race, I'll throw on F1 TV and get the full experience. So, Nick, wrapping up today, my big question to you: this is Lando's, I believe, 9th pole this season. Does he keep it clean and come home with the race win, or does Charles Leclerc or Max Verstappen make a big jump coming around turn 3 and get back up to the point? So what are your predictions based off of the qualifying that we just saw today?
I don't think Lando puts it together. He may keep it together off the line, but eventually something will go wrong for Lando Norris.
See, I disagree with you here, because I think that week gap, the week break, really helped his mental fortitude, and he is too good of a driver to, I think, crumble. I think that he has come back more focused. He was at rock bottom, trying to press, trying to do too much. We'll see it over the next couple of weeks, but I think that he has calmed himself. He isn't going to press as much. And I do think that we are seeing a different Lando Norris for the rest of the season, which is great for the Drivers' Championship. And I think it's going to come down between Oscar and Lando. It's going to be circa 2016 Nico and Hamilton.
I think Lando, I don't think he has it. I don't think he can put it all together. I don't think he can win a championship. I mean, maybe he can win a couple races. Maybe he can be good, be pretty consistent. But at the end of the day, he's not going to win a championship.
I mean, he put
He's
almost 5/10 on Leclerc in this last Q qualifying 3. Like, that is incredible pace.
And no one said he doesn't have pace. It takes more than pace to win a championship. Just like it's more than strength that wins a football game. Like, I don't think that over the course, and maybe he does good this week, but over the course of the weeks, and if Oscar keeps putting pressure on him, Lando will crack.
We'll see about that. I think that the bear has been poked and Lando Norris has awoken. And these next couple races are going to be really good for Lando, because we go Britain next week, Belgian, Hungaroring, and then the Dutch Grand Prix, which he did win last year as well. So I think it's going to be a close battle, and I think Lando cleans up his stuff for the rest of the year. So let's see what happens, and let's see what happens, and we'll go from there. So Nick, any closing thoughts before we wrap up the session?
Nope.
All right. I don't either. Thank you again for listening. Follow and subscribe here on Spotify, YouTube, Instagram. It does help the algorithm. Please leave a comment and a rating wherever you listen to podcasts. It helps me and Nick make this F1 content that we love and share it with y'all. So please go do that. And then again, I will plug Grid Rival because we are a collaborator with them now. And if you want a $100 match deposit, or up to $100 match deposit, use the promo code BROS on the app to start making picks and playing daily fantasy on their site. So with that, Nick, you ran over a curb, you're losing points of downforce, and I need you to box. Peace.